before you scroll past this, give me the next 60 seconds, because what I'm about to walk you through is going to completely reframe the way you understand what's happening inside your body after 50. Most men accept it. The fatigue that hits earlier than it used to. The drive that's quieter than it was at 35. The performance in the bedroom that feels like it belongs to someone younger. They accept it because they've been told by friends, by culture, sometimes even by their own doctors, that this is just what aging looks like. I'm here to tell you that is not true, and I can show you the science that proves it. What is actually happening inside your body is this. After 50, your deep stabilizing muscles lose activation. Your hip flexors, shortened from years of sitting, begin pulling your pelvis out of alignment. Circulation to your lower body becomes sluggish and restricted, and the hormonal feedback loop between your muscles, your blood vessels, and your brain, the loop responsible for keeping testosterone production strong, begins to break down. That is not aging. That is a system that has been understimulated, and a system that has been understimulated can be switched back on. Today I'm giving you 5 targets, TED exercises, clinically informed, equipment free, and designed specifically for men over 50 that goes directly after the root causes of performance decline. No machines, no supplements, no gym membership, just 10 minutes, your body weight, and the floor beneath you. I'm Dr. Carter, men's health and performance coaching, and if you stay through to the end, I'll give you the exact sequence and timing for these exercises, because the order matters more than most men realize, and getting it wrong means leaving most of your results behind. Let's go. Exercise 1. The supinating hip press. I call this the circulation reset. Here's what most men don't know. After years of prolonged sitting, the gluteal muscles don't just weaken, they develop a kinds of selective amnesia. The system stops recruiting them efficiently. Researchers refer to this as gluteal inhibition, and it has a direct downstream effect on blood flow to the entire pelvic region. When your glutes aren't firing properly, blood pools rather than circulates. The tissues of the pelvic floor becomes chronically underperfused, and underperfused tissue does not perform. Here, show to do this correctly. Lay on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Before you move anything, consciously squeeze your glutes. Feel them engaged. Now press through your heels, not toes, and drive your hips straight up towards the ceiling. At the top, hold for a full 3 seconds. Squeeze hard, then lower slowly over 3 counts. That is 1 replica. 3 sets of 12. The 3-second held at the top is not optional. That sustained isometric contraction at peak hip extension is what generates the differential in your blood pressure. Pelvic floor needs. Men who rush through this exercise gets maybe 30% of its benefits. The pause is the entire mechanism. Coming up, exercise 3 is the one almost every man over 50 is skipping completely, and it's the single most powerful hormonal stimulus in this entire routine. Don't go anywhere. Exercise 2. The wide isometric hold, the nitric oxide drill. Let me tell you about nitric oxide, because this compound is at the center of male performance in a way most men have never been told. Nitric oxide is produced by the inner lining of your blood vessels in response to sustained mechanical tension. When nitric oxide is released, blood vessels dilate, flow increases, tissue receives oxygen, nutrients, and the hormonal signals it needs to function at full capacity. Isometric training, where your muscles working hard without moving, is one of the most reliable ways to stimulate nitric oxide production, and this exercise targets the exact muscle groups that feed circulation to your pelvic floor. Stand with feet well outside, shoulder width, toes angled out naturally, lower your hips toward the floor until your thighs, approaching parallel, going as deep as is comfortable, without compromising your back. Chest stays up, back stays neutral. Now hold. Start at 30 seconds. Work towards 45. Then over the coming weeks. 3 rounds. While you hold, breathe. Long, slow inhales through the nose. Full exhales through the mouth. This is not just a comfort strategy sustained during nasal breathing. Exertion directly activates the parasympathetic branches of your nervous system, which suppresses cortisol. And cortisol, when chronically elevated, is one of the primary hormonal suppressors of testosterone production. This exercise is doing 2 things at once: building local circulation and regulating the hormone environment your testosterone depends on. Exercise 3. The full depth squat. The testosterone signal. This is the one I promised you, and I need you to understand why it's different from the squat you probably imagining. A standard squat hips stopping levels with the knees recruits your quads and your glutes. A full depth squat hips descending below the knee line recruits your glutes, your hamstrings, your hip flexors, your pelvic floor, your lower abdominals, and the deep spinal stabilizers, all simultaneously. That coordinated whole system recruitment, say NDs, what exercise physiologists call a high threshold motor units, signal directly to the brain. The brain interprets that signal as significant physical demand. The hormonal response to that interpretation is measurable and well documented, is spiked in both testosterone and growth hormone production. You cannot replicate this signal with a partial range of motion. Department is not optional. Department is the point. Feet shoulder width apart or slightly wider. Toes out at roughly 30 to 45 degrees. Initiate the descent slowly for seconds on the way down. Reach full depth. Pause at the bottom for 2 full seconds. Drive back up through your heels. 3 sets of 8 reps. If your heels rise off the floor at the bottom, place something thin, a folded towel, a small wedge beneath them while your ankle mobility develops. That is not cheating. That is intelligent adaptation. What is not acceptable is cutting the range of motion shorts. Go deep every single time. Exercises 4 and 5 are where the real separation happens, where men who do this routine correctly pull ahead of men who only go halfway. Especially exercise 5. Almost nobody does it. Keep watching. Exercise 4. The long striding lunge. The adductor pump. Your adductors, the muscles of your inner thigh, are among the most chronically neglected muscles groups in men over 50. Most training programs ignore them entirely. That is a significant mistake. The adductor complex contains a dense concentration of blood vessels that feed directly into the pelvic region. When these muscles are regular and lie-stretched, contracted through their full range, they act like thumps, moving blood actively through the vascular network that supplies your pelvic floors. When they are sedentary and tight, which describes most men over 50, that pump is off, and the tissues downstream suffer for it. Step forward into a long, deliberate stride. Lower your back knee toward the floor. Front knee stays directly over the ankle, not caving in, not pushing past the toes. Drive off the back foot and bring it forward into the next step. 10 to 12 lunges per leg. 3 sets. The keys variable here is stride length. A long stride creates a deep adductor stretch with every repetition. A short stride barely engages them at all. Move slowly, with full control, and prioritize that stretch at the bottom of each representative. This is precision circulation work, not a cardio drill. Treat it that way. Exercise 5. The dead bug. The deep nerve activator. ICNO. A name does not inspire confidence, but I need you to understand what this exercise is actually doing, because without it, everything else in this the routine is working at a fraction of its potential. Your pelvic floor is governed by a nerve network called the pudendal nerve. This network controls sensitivity, muscular control, and coordinated performance of the entire pelvic region. When the deep core muscles surrounding this nerve pathway are weak or chronically inactive, which is extremely common in men who spend most of their days seated, the pudendal nerve becomes compressed and underactivated. The result is reduced sensitivity and reduced voluntary control. The dead bug is a deep core activation drill, not a surface level ab exercise. A deep, precise ray engagement of the stabilizing muscles that decompress and reactivate this nerve pathway. Lay on your back, arms extended straight towards the ceiling, knees bent at 90 degrees, shins parallel to the floor lifted. Now press your lower back into the floor firmly. Do not let it arch. Maintain that contact throughout the entire exercise. Slowly lower your right arm overhead while simultaneously extending your left leg out, straight, hovering both just above the floor. Return. Switch sides. That is 1 representative. 10 reps per side. 3 sets. Move with intention. There is no rushing this. The value of this exercise is entirely in the control of the deep engagement and the sustained lower back contact. If your back arches off the floor, you've lost the mechanism entirely. Reset and go again. Here is the complete sequence. Do it in this exact order because each exercise prepares the neurological and circulatory conditions for the next one. 1 supine hip press. Wake up the glutes. Restore pelvic blood flow. 2 wide isometric. Hold. Stimulate nitric oxide. Regulate cortisol. 3 full depth squat. Trigger the testosterone signal. 4 long stride lunge. Drive circulation through the adductor network. 5 dead bug. Activates the deep nerve pathway that ties it all together. Total time 10 minutes. Every morning. Consistent is the words, not perfect. Consistent. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me honestly, which of these 5 have you been skipping, or which one surprised you most? I read every comment and I replied to as many as I can, and your answers genuinely shape what I cover next. If you want to take this further, I've built a complete 30-day men's performance protocol that progresses directly from this foundation. It includes weekly targets that builds on these 5 exercises, a nutrition framework specifically designed for testosterone support after 50, and our recovery and sleep protocols that most men are completely overlooking. The link is in the description. Men who go through it consistently see real changes in energy, in driving, in performance within the first 2 weeks. The link is below. Subscribe if you haven't. Next, I'm covering the 1 morning habit that week directly impacts testosterone level before you. I've even eaten breakfast and it takes less than 4 minutes. You don't want to miss it. I am Sonam. Train smart, stay consistent. I'll see you in the next one. Share.